another episode of the Amateur Hour Podcast. NBA content is flying in right now because the season just started.
Start of the season, let's go.
Lots of NBA content.
It's the best time of the year.
Colin, as you can hear, is here.
Hello, everybody.
I'm back. My name's Jacob. I'm hosting again. Just us two will be talking about the new contracts in the NBA. There's been 5 big ones.
The extension deadline just passed.
Passed on Monday, and there were 5 big ones that I really want to talk about. Starters, we already talked about him in the other episode, me and Roman. Buddy Hield got his deal. 4 years at $86 million. It should rise to 94 with incentives, like very attainable incentives. So it should be 94 million over 4 years. But there's a potential for it to rise all the way up to it's either 106 or 108. But those are more difficult things to attain. So it's going to be pretty much 94 over 4 years.
I think the base contract is really good.
They initially offered him $90 million, and he was quote insulted. Wanted 110. I didn't think he was worth it. I thought he was worth about 100. So I think 94 million is a good deal. Maybe it was still early in the negotiation process when that happened. It was like they basically had just said it, and he was all of a sudden was insulted by it.
Like,
but I think what happened was they sat him down. They went listen, De'Aaron Fox, Marvin Bagley, they're coming up. They're gonna get max deals. Like if you want to be involved in this up-and-coming roster,
you can't get a max.
You're not getting that. You're not getting a max. Right? And I think he kind of bought into the system because I really like what the Kings are doing with their team right now.
Yeah, me too.
With the 4-year contract, it leaves it open for... You're only allowed 2 5-year contracts. So it leaves it open for De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley to sign those 5-year max deals, which is probably what's going to happen. So I think for both parties, this was a good deal.
I agree. I've been a huge fan of Buddy Hield ever since he came out of college. The guy was just a walking bucket in college, and he's
wet in college.
He's clearly translated that to the NBA. One thing you could say about him is that he did enter the league at 24, and he's gonna be 27 by December. So he's in his prime now, and I think it was the perfect time to sign him into his prime. It'll take him when he's about 31 years old, and then you can see from there. But you're going to get 4 really good, productive, efficient years out of Buddy Hield, which I really like. He's
21 points last year. Like, that's a great stat.
43% threes.
Yeah, great stat. I think
on 8 attempts a game.
Yeah,
stupid number.
He's soaking wet.
Yeah, he's very good, and I love how he fits really nicely into that Kings roster. Like, he's like one of the oldest players on that team.
He's very complimentary to that roster.
He is, and I think he can be a good mentor for the younger guys. Like, he is 27, but on that team, that's one of the older players. Mm-hmm. I really like Buddy Hield. I think it was a really good move for the Kings. They needed to establish themselves a little bit more in the West because in the offseason, they did nothing. They only really brought in, like, Dwayne Dedmon.
Well, when you're Sacramento, you're not a big market. You're not going to attract a free agent. So you have to really lock up your guys.
I think they needed to sign him anyways. Even if you had to sign him for like 100 and 110, I still think you needed to do it.
But I think what happened in the negotiations was like, look, like I said, we've got Fox, we've got Bagley. They're coming up on their deals.
Right.
Like we can't give you that.
Yeah.
And bought into the system, clearly wanted to be in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Got really emotional about the contract talks. He almost cried in a little post-practice interview about it, actually. But loves the team.
Loves the team. Loves the game of basketball. Fun guy. But yeah, and even if he doesn't put up 20 points a game like he did last year, I mean, I think he can. His efficiency is still going to be there. I don't think his shooting's ever going to leave him. He's just a walking bucket. He's going to put up he's going to get 8 3-point attempts a game on 42% 3-pointers, which is really, really nice. That's a really good player to have, and especially on a decent deal. He's gonna be making $23 million a year. Maybe that might increase a little bit more, but that's really good for a 20-point per game scorer. Really good shooter. Yeah, I like everything about the deal.
We'll move on. I am so excited to talk about this one. Jaylen Brown. Signed.
He chopped off the hair.
And signed for $115 million over 4 years. We did an episode on Jaylen Brown already. He asked for a max, a 4-year, $170 max. And That was ludicrous.
We laughed when we heard that. We were like peeing over that.
I'm laughing at this one because this is an awful contract.
It's still not that good.
This is a bad contract, and I'm going to tell you why. Jaylen Brown only averaged about 14 points last year, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. No, sorry, 4 rebounds, 1.4 assists. How this guy thought he's worth this much is
I don't know.
Laughable. It is absolutely preposterous how he thinks he's worth this much.
I'm going to defend Jaylen Brown real quick. I think it's a bad contract, but I'm just going to come to his defense a little bit. I think his reasoning was he's still young. He's like 22, 23. He's a great defender. I think that was his selling piece. He's like a great defender who can like maybe get to like 17, 18 points a game, who knows. But we talked about this earlier. We think he'll be like the 4 option on the Celtics. 3 or 4 option on the Celtics.
3 or 4.
You've got
Kemba,
Tatum, and then Cantor or Brown. You never know.
Maybe Cantor.
But I think it'll be Cantor just because you're going to need inside scoring at some point.
Yeah.
But
dude, this.
Yeah, like, he's not going to get as many touches as a player of that contract would suggest.
Let's compare to the Buddy Hield contract we just talked about, because both shooting guards.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy Hield puts up 21 points per game, and I think it was 5 rebounds. Was it
5 rebounds?
And he got 94 over 4 years.
Yep.
Buddy Hield is a lot better. I know he's a lot older too, but he's a lot better than Jaylen Brown. And another one. This is my big one. I've talked about this before. This is my big comparison. Caris LeVert puts up near identical numbers, but slightly better than Jaylen Brown, I think. But it's near identical. Jaylen Brown put up 13 points. Caris LeVert put up about 14. Jaylen Brown 13. Caris LeVert about 14. LeVert puts up 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Brown puts up 4 rebounds, 1.4 assists. Very similar stats. Similar shooting. LeVert's a little bit less efficient, but
he's a way better scorer. Like Brown.
Yeah. But LeVert got 3 years, $52 million. Nowhere near the same amount of money. I think Caris LeVert's on a good deal.
I do too. But I think especially for the Nets,
Brown is on an incredibly high contract. It doesn't make any sense. Like what is Danny Ainge doing with this one? Like they had one deep playoff run, and he's getting really paid off that. Like
I think
he regressed. I don't even say that. He regressed in every single statistical category, except for free throws, which only slightly increased to about 66%, which already isn't
66%?
Which already isn't good.
Oh my god.
He regressed in every statistical category. I know he had less minutes, but like the efficiency everything regressed.
His 3-point shooting went down a lot.
Like I don't see this money. I don't either. See
I think Danny Ainge made the deal hoping he was going to become that.
He might. He might.
There is the chance he could, but right now, not worth it at all.
Like, that is a ridiculous contract.
Yeah.
He is making almost $30 million a year.
Especially for a 3, probably 4 option on a team when Cantor's making like $5 million a year.
You got to pay Jason Tatum soon as well. I don't know, man.
They are going to get Hayward off the books after this year, which...
That's true.
That'll free up some space for them to sign Tatum and maybe, I don't know, maybe someone else. I doubt it, but...
I don't see this
with
contract,
Brown,
man.
Brown, again, he came out of college, raw athletic guy. They're hoping he can turn into that kind of, he can build on his game. But I just don't see the offensive potential too much. He's not a great shooter. He's athletic. He could dunk, but I don't really see it on the offensive end from Jaylen Brown.
He didn't even play that much against Philly. He's not being utilized. He played 21 minutes against Philly. Very much underutilized in that game.
And he might even come off the bench this year too.
He came off the bench mostly last year. Only started 25 games of his 74.
I think they're gonna put Smart in that shooting guard spot over Brown.
Man, I think this contract's gonna look bad.
Yeah,
it looks really bad right now. It's laughable.
Yeah,
this is a really bad move.
Yeah, not shitting on Jaylen Brown, but right now he's definitely not worth that contract.
I'm shitting on Boston for giving him this deal.
But it could have been another situation where it's like, look, we know it's an overpayment. We may not want to pay it, but if we're still going to stay relevant and hopefully can become that, I think that's what their mindset was.
It's a lot of money.
Who knows? Yeah.
When we did a full episode on Jaylen Brown, we said he's worth about 75-80 million for 4 years.
In a perfect world. In a perfect world,
honestly, Jaylen Brown, the Boston Celtics should have signed him to a bridge. I agree. Because to see what he comes out as, but yeah.
Even like 2 years at like 40 million would have been a better deal than this. I think maybe it'll pan out, but I don't like this contract at all. Me neither.
That's about all we can say. Next, Damontas Sabonis.
We like this guy.
We like this guy a lot. I like this guy a lot. He was a finalist for Sixth Man last year for the Lou Williams Award. You're obviously not going to win it when Lou Williams is in the league, but put up great numbers. 14 points per game.
Almost 10
off
assists.
Almost 10 rebounds.
Yeah, sorry. 10 rebounds. 3 assists, which isn't even not too bad.
Almost 60% from the field. Sorry. I'm looking at this year's stats. Over 50% from the field, which is good. Over 35% from 3, also very good. Just great stats all around.
Dude, last year he put up 59%.
Oh, we're looking at
59%.
We were
18,
oh wait, no,
last year.
Yeah,
19 was last year.
It was 60% from the field.
Holy
60%.
Crap.
Oh my goodness. Sorry. 60% from the field and shot 53% from 3.
But
didn't shoot a lot, but
only on 0.2 attempts a game. So
he shot when he was open and hit his shots. I was looking at the stats from the year before. 60% from the field, 53% from 3. Almost 10 rebounds.
Take that 3-point percentage with a grain of salt.
This is off the bench as well.
Yeah.
And he's $77 million over 4 years. Wow.
I like it. I really like it. That's a lot. Under 20 million, which is really good for a guy, especially for his age and his production. I think he's going to come off the bench again for the Pacers this year because they're going to put. I think they like starting Thaddeus Young over Sabonis, but
Miles Turner is probably at the center.
Yeah, but they were.
But Damontas still going to be running the 4 a lot.
They were experimenting with him at the 4 and Turner at the 5, which isn't even that bad. I don't know if Sabonis is a pure 4. He's pretty big. He's like 6'11", 240, which I would consider a center.
But you got to play this guy.
But anyways, you have to play him, and I think
Dude, he's 23. He's so young.
You know what? And I think the next step for Sabonis is his defense. He's not a great defender right now. He's more of like an offensive threat.
Yeah.
But I think
he's 23.
He's 23 years old.
He's got so much room.
He's got a lot of potential still, especially on the defensive side. He only had 0.4 blocks a game, which for a center you want to see at least 1. At the very minimum for your bigs you want to see 1, and especially for a guy of his caliber, I want to see.
He's young. He's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
He is.
You see it improving. He's made a good jump every year. And he's gonna make another one this year.
Yeah, and there's really no reason to believe why he wouldn't make another jump.
Put up in his first game, I think it was something like 27 points.
That's pretty good.
Very, very impressive.
That's very good, and especially now with what's his name? Especially
27 points, 13 rebounds in the first game against the Pistons.
Still, he's going up against Blake and
I'm saying
and Drummond. That's very good. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
And
I don't think isn't Blake Griffin injured.
I don't know.
Regardless, a good he is injured. A good rebounding team.
Yeah, and with Sabonis,
there's
a lot of room to grow. He's already got a really good base of where he's at, and there's really no reason to believe why he won't keep going.
$19 million a year is a great
Another
contract.
Thing for Sabonis, he really hasn't had too many injuries. He played 81 games his first season, and then 74 the past couple seasons. That's pretty good. Obviously injuries are going to happen, but you want to see your main guys playing north of 70 games, right? And I think he's going to keep that up.
Was he in the Oladipo trade?
Yeah.
Oh man,
he was for Paul George.
That Indiana really got a great package in that trade.
For Paul George,
I know, but Sabonis and
they got a good
Oladipo have really come in on that trade.
Yeah, I think it was
a good trade for both teams.
I think the way it is now, it turned out best case scenario for the Pacers because when Oladipo was on the Thunder, you didn't really know if he was going to take that next step in his career.
Yeah, or
same thing with Sabonis. With Sabonis when he played
put up
for
6
OKC.
points for OKC.
He started a lot of games for OKC as a rookie.
And he put up 6 points per game. Now he's putting up 14.
Yeah. And, yeah, I like Sabonis. Yeah, I like Sabonis.
I like him a lot. We'll move on. Thaurean Prince, 2 years, $29 million. I think...
It's not bad.
It's not great
bad.
either.
It's not bad, but...
I think what it is, it's a guy who put up 13.5 points last year for Atlanta. Still kind of young, 25 years old.
Yeah.
Puts up good minutes. He's okay on defense.
He's a good shooter.
Shoots very
39%
well.
on...
Shoots very well from 3.
Just south of 6 attempts a game.
I think it's a bit too much money, but I think what they wanted to do was, you lock up this guy for, this is Brooklyn.
For the next couple years.
This is the prime Brooklyn
This is their
years.
window. For Brooklyn, they need a good few years.
What they wanted was to lock up, this extra piece, Thaurean Prince, for that window. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Have him for the entire window. He's going to be a good piece. Going to be a good shooter. I don't know if he's going to be...
He did have some injuries last season. He only played about 55 games.
I don't know if he'll be starting. Do you think he'll start for Brooklyn?
No. I don't think he'll start for Brooklyn. I think he'll come off the bench.
Probably a good piece off the bench. It's a good piece to have. I just think it's a bit too much money for him.
But I don't think it was the wrong move.
It wasn't the wrong move
on Brooklyn's part.
No.
Obviously, nowadays you see so many contracts, just like the Jaylen Brown contract, where it's they overpaid. Maybe they didn't want to,
but it's better to have him.
But it's better to have him than not. It's kind of bittersweet in this end, but I think
it's a short one though.
For this one, I think it's a little bit more sweet than it is bitter.
Yeah, it's a short contract.
It's another good piece to add for Brooklyn. Brooklyn's got a lot of nice pieces to build around Kyrie and Durant when he comes back. But the thing with Prince is, I know last year he got hurt, but he's a good shooter, and he's another kind of guy where he can do everything well. You know what I mean? He's a pretty good defender. He can score. He can shoot. He can rebound.
Yeah.
And
it's a good guy to have on your team.
Yeah, he's a really good role player to have on your team. A really good guy to come off the bench. Give you a solid 20-25 minutes. I like Thaurean Prince.
We will move on again to the last player we have to talk about. Joe Ingles.
Jingle, baby.
Ingles. 1 year, $14 million. A lot of salary issues right now in Utah.
But I think it's needed again.
It's obviously needed, but the reason it's only 1 year is because it's salary problems. I think they would have liked to lock up Joe Ingles.
They have
for a
to
bit
pay
longer.
Donovan too. Yeah. I think they only gave him 1 year because they knew they have to pay Donovan.
They know Joe Ingles is gone after this year, so 1 year deal.
But Ingles has been an Iron Man.
Good shooter, quite an Iron Man.
He has only missed 4 NBA games in his career.
No, 3. You're right.
4.
3 in his rookie year,
and then 1 in his second year.
Oh, sorry. What am I saying?
4 games.
4 games
out of 5 seasons.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Past 3 years, he's played all 82 games for Utah.
That is absolutely crazy.
Notoriously good 3-point shooter.
That's why they signed him. He
39% last year.
Yeah. 44 the year before. 40. Oh my.
And 44 the year before that as well. 12 points per game. He's a good shooter.
He's not a scorer, but he's a shooter.
Yeah.
He's a shooter, not a scorer, and I think that's what you have to remember when you look at Joe.
He's probably coming off the bench this year.
Dude, he put up almost 6 assists last year.
He's a good player.
I like Joe Ingles
They're gonna miss not having him for sure.
And the thing with Joe, he made his NBA debut when he was 27. He was in Australia earlier on in his career where he was kind of building his game, and then Utah kind of noticed him and picked him up. And I think that's like a diamond in the rough.
Well, great. Well, yeah.
It's not often that you
12 points per game.
It's not often you pick an overseas player and they flourish in the NBA, right?
Yeah. What I will say about Joe Ingles is that did not show up in the playoffs last year.
Fair. He didn't have the best playoff.
He averaged 6 points and he only shot 28% from 3.
Yeah, you could knock him for that.
I watched every game of that series. A lot of easy shots missed. Wide open threes missed.
Yeah.
I don't think that's paramount to his game. I think
it could just be playoffs.
A one-off. He had an off
agree.
Series.
In Joe, he's got a lot of good pieces to his game. Like I said before, he's a good distributor. He put up almost 6 assists last year. He's averaging north of a steal per game, which I really like. He doesn't commit too many turnovers, doesn't commit too many fouls.
I think they're gonna miss not having him after the season because I really don't think he's gonna be back. I think
he's a really good role player for them.
Good role player to have, good shooter. He's Iron Man, like you said. I think because there's not a lot of athleticism to his game.
No, he's not an athlete.
He's like He's like that white guy that just shows up at pickup and is just straight.
You don't expect anything from him, but he's just weirdly good.
Like your dad comes to play with you in the driveway and just absolute money. That's what I think of when I see Joe Ingles.
That's like the videos of cops pulling up to like people playing in the street and they just destroy them.
Straight shooters. That's what I see. Oh, yeah. Kids, when you play, let me show you a couple things.
Yeah, and Joe Ingles does by no means does not look like an NBA player. Like he's kind of chunky, like he doesn't look like an NBA player, but he'll give you some threes.
Get you some threes for sure.
Yeah, and he can play decent defense too. He's a big body, 6'9", 230 pounds. Like he's a big guy.
I think that's about it on the Joe Ingles talk. That'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for joining me again, Colin. Follow at AmateurPDC on Instagram, Twitter and Instagram.
Give us suggestions.
Join us again for some more daily content in the future.